A popular debate this morning. Are we the product of our DNA, nurture, or do outside factors make us who we are, nature?
Right. Age-old question, is it nature or is it nurture? Our Nine health expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, is joining us now. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning. What an interesting discussion.
It really is. We've been talking about this nonstop. So do we know how much of our personality is genetically determined, and how do scientists even answer that question?
So we started looking at this in 1875 when a scientist
We,
started
meaning not you, of course.
not me.
You.
Maybe my grandparents. But basically he said, okay, let's look at twins that got separated at birth.
Yeah.
And they turned out remarkably similar in personality.
Okay.
And so that sort of raised the question of how much of this is our DNA versus our environment. And then since then we've been doing what's called GWAS, genome-wide association studies, where we take people's entire DNA, sequence it, and try to look for associations with specific, the way that DNA looks with how their personality turns out. And that's given us a lot of insight. So we think about 40 to 50% of us is genetically determined, and about 40 to 50% is what the environment that we grow up in. So about half and half.
Yeah, I mean, so straight down the middle maybe in some
I think
cases.
so. I really do think so.
I don't want to make this whole segment about my twins. I've made some interesting observations over the last 18 years, but let's talk more generally. Have they determined that specific genes lead to certain personality traits?
So we used to think that a few genes, just like, okay, if you have this gene, you're going to be tall. If you have this gene, you're going to be short. But it's really not like that. It's something called polygenic. So few genes don't make a big impact. Lots of genes make a tiny little impact. So if you think about us humans, 99.9% of our DNA, identical, all of us at this table. So it's that 0.1% that makes all the difference. And if you look at your fraternal twins, Drew, they're 50% identical. Identical twins obviously are 100% identical DNA. But they still have these tiny little base pairs, they're called, tiny little typos in their genes that make them very different. So if you look at our chromosomes, 46 chromosomes, 20,000 genes per chromosome. So you can just imagine it's all these tiny little genes and the way they're tiny different that are making us different, even in identical twins.
The twins thing is so interesting to me because that's really how you can answer some of these questions.
Yes.
You have twins.
So I have fraternal twins.
Yeah.
Caleb and Chase are fraternal twins, but I say they're a special subset of fraternal twins called similar twins.
Yeah.
Physically very close to being identical. I mean, same height, weight, body shape, eye color, hair color. Faces are definitely different, especially as they grow older. Personalities are not completely opposite, but they're certainly not identical. I mean, one is a little fiery than the other.
Yeah.
One is a little more stubborn than the other.
Always
Although his brother
happens.
is still, I would call one stubborn and the other more stubborn. I mean, stubbornness is definitely part of both of their
That's
makeup.
awesome. They get that from you.
Is it awesome? You ever live with two really stubborn people going with a third stubborn person?
Did they get the stubbornness from dad? No? Okay, we're gonna move on. Can personalities change over time?
They very much can.
Really?
Yes, and so just like we're talking about polygenes, we talk about what's called poly-environment. And so our environment can be dynamic over time. So we think, and surprisingly so, this was very surprising to me, it's not so much the home environment that you grew up in, it's not that shared environment that determines your personality, not how your parents raised you that determines your personality, it's more your life experiences, your peer groups, your trauma that you might have had. And by the way, childhood trauma is a lot more significant impact on your personality than adulthood. They've even looked at people who've lost a leg or, had a cardiac arrest, and how that changes their personality doesn't have as much of an effect. But most of our personality continues to evolve till about the age of 30, at which point it starts to get more fixed. And then the life events have less of an impact than they did before the age of 30. But we notice that as we get older, we get less neurotic and we get more conscientious. This is well described across populations, not just in specific individuals.
I cannot wait for that to start happening.
What an interesting topic.
Very much so.
Okay, Dr. Kohli, thank you so much for coming.